Hi, I'm Wayne Allyn Root for Personal Liberty. My new book, The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide, was just released days ago, hot off the presses, and timing is everything in life. Because at this moment, our economic survival is very much in question. Have you seen the latest numbers on jobs, workforce participation, retail sales, and consumer confidence? One word sums it all up: disaster. Shouldn't the American people have a right to know what our president's real economic agenda is? Is he out to help us or hurt us? I have a story today that sheds light on that life or death question. You see, President Obama and I were college classmates at Columbia University, class of '83. I know all too well how mindlessly radical and in many cases anti-American and hostile to capitalism the leftist students and faculty of Columbia were then, and President Obama was certainly no exception. It's in this cesspool of intolerance that Obama and his Marxist cronies hatched a secret plan to destroy our country. There are two things you need to know about Obama at Columbia University. First, he was pre-law and a political science major, just like me. I thought I knew everyone studying political science during my 4 years at Columbia. Not Obama. I never met him, never saw him, never even heard of him. Strange. Same major, same career path, and graduated on the same day from the same college. Where was he? Was he busy attending Communist Party meetings? That's what I've always thought. No need to guess anymore. In his autobiography, I went back and looked. He proudly admits attending Socialist Party meetings at Cooper Union in downtown Manhattan. Can you imagine? He also admits publicly in his own book to not wanting to meet or befriend anyone at Columbia who wasn't black, Hispanic, gay, or a Marxist professor. His words in print. So it's possible he was so busy attending communist meetings and trying to avoid guys like me, white, straight, patriotic, that our paths never crossed. But it's the second thing you really need to know about Obama at Columbia. He says he graduated class of '83. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I always have. Well then, Obama had to attend the same political science classes as me. I could tell you, almost to a man and woman, my classmates in the class of '83 at Columbia proudly called themselves radical, Marxist, communist, or socialist. They weren't Democrats, they weren't liberals, they were Marxist. They openly hated America, calling it racist. They hated capitalism, and they vowed to bring the system down. These were their words. In my class, the typical Columbia political science student vowed to change America forever, bankrupt business owners, and vaporize what they called the white power structure. For the most part, by the way, these were the children of wealth, white, given everything on a silver platter, yet all they felt was anger and guilt. Their goal was to destroy their own fathers. They talked about it all day long. Freud would have a field day with this group. So let me tell you a story that explains the anger, hate, and radicalism best. Back in '81, I was sitting in political science class. The president at that time, Reagan, a man reviled by the left as viciously as any leftists hate any Republican today. Suddenly, our lecture was interrupted by a door swinging open violently, whereupon a student out of breath raced into the room screaming, "The president's been shot. They've just assassinated Reagan." Ronald Reagan was my hero. The news hit me like a ton of bricks. I instantly felt sick to my stomach. Tears flowed down my cheeks. But it was the response of that class that I will remember for the rest of my life. They cheered, they clapped, they yelled, they high-fived, they whooped in sheer unadulterated joy. They hugged each other. My fellow classmates were happy that my hero, President Reagan, was dead, or so they thought. They were celebrating what they assumed was the assassination of America's president for the crime of being a Republican. Incidentally, if Obama actually went to Columbia, he'd almost certainly have to have been in that class leading the cheers. Feel like you need a shower yet? Lest you think I've made something up or I'm exaggerating, British leftists just celebrated and cheered upon hearing of the death of Margaret Thatcher only days ago. It was all over the news. Some Brits held parties celebrating Margaret Thatcher's death. You see, nothing has ever changed with the left. But wait, the most frightening and eye-opening revelation is still to come. You see, political science students at Columbia were taught a detailed, specific plan designed by two former Columbia professors, a husband and wife named Cloward and Piven, to bring down the system, wreck capitalism, and turn America into a socialist state. We discussed it in class, wrote about it, debated it, outside class, at lunch. It was a hot topic of discussion around the halls of Columbia for my entire 4 years. The plan was revolting, but it was brilliant. Cloward and Piven taught that America could only be destroyed from within. Only by overwhelming the system with debt, welfare, and entitlements could capitalism and the American economy be destroyed. So the plan was to make a majority of Americans dependent on welfare, food stamps, disability, unemployment, and all kinds of entitlements. And then under the weight of the debt, the system would implode, and so would the economy, and so would the country, and all the business owners who make all those donations to Republican and conservative candidates would be bankrupted. Americans would be brought to their knees begging for big government to save them. And suddenly, you'd have a new system. A system based on fairness, equality, and social justice. It's called socialism. Sound familiar? Lo and behold, one of my classmates got elected as president. And it's clear as a bell he's using that plan right now, that exact plan, to destroy America, capitalism, and the U.S. economy. It's happening right in front of our eyes. It's the exact plan, folks, hatched at Columbia University from my college days. Exact in every way. Under Obama, 660,000 Americans dropped off the job rolls last month. 90 million working-age, able-bodied Americans are no longer in the workforce. Almost 50 million Americans are on food stamps. 20% of all eligible adults. 14 million are on disability. Millions more on welfare, unemployment. So many different other categories of entitlements. My head's spinning. And now we add in free health care and 22 million government employees. Look what's happening around you. Record-setting numbers of Americans are emptying their retirement accounts just to survive. Student loan debt is the next big bust, the next big disaster. Defaults up 36% from a year ago. 16.4 million Americans live in poverty just in the suburbs. Liberals joked about Sarah Palin seeing Russia from her home in Alaska. Well, I'm betting Obama sees Cloward and Piven from every window at the White House. And he probably sees Russia too. Remember the plan from Columbia. Remember it. Think about it. Overwhelm the system with debt. And then think about what Obama's done. He promised to cut the deficit in half, and instead he gave us 5 consecutive $1 trillion deficits. He promised to spend responsibly. He's now the biggest spender in world history. He called Bush's $4 trillion in debt over 8 years reckless, and then he proceeded to pile on $6 trillion in only 4 years. He added over 6,000 new rules and regulations in the last 90 days. He claims taxes are low, yet he raised taxes to the same levels as bankrupt EU countries like Greece, Spain, Italy, and France. Who would do that? Our federal income taxes are now far higher than former Soviet republics. Now I ask you, does this sound like a man trying to save us? Folks, this is Cloward and Piven. This is Karl Marx, who despised the middle class and vowed to wipe it out. This is Saul Alinsky, Obama's mentor, who dedicated his book, Obama's favorite book, by the way, to Lucifer, the devil. This is no accident or the work of an economically inept liberal. This is a purposeful plan to drown the nation in debt and hook a majority to government handouts happening right in front of our eyes. It's crystal clear Obama's plan was hatched in our college days at Columbia class of '83. And while I never met Obama at Columbia, I can certainly put him at the scene of the crime. He either went to Columbia or he didn't. If he didn't, he's a fraud. If he did, he knew the Cloward and Piven plan like the back of his hand. He studied it, and his goal, like almost all my classmates, was to use it to bring down the U.S. economy, wreck capitalism, and create what they consider to be equality, fairness, and social justice. Now, here's an obvious question. Why would anyone want to purposely collapse the economy? Well, Saul Alinsky taught the ends justify the means. A bankrupt America wipes out the middle class and small business. And that wipes out the majority of donors to conservative causes, meaning Obama and his socialist cabal no longer have any opposition. It creates equality by putting everyone on equal footing. It causes panic, and in panic, voters often make bad decisions, like choosing big government to save them. The destruction and devastation that we see happening right now in front of us is the plan that I learned, that we studied, that we discussed every day at Columbia. This is the Marxist attack from within designed by Cloward and Piven. And it's working. Obama's been working on his plan for 30 years. How do I know? Because our 30th Columbia class reunion is next month. Now it's time for us to get to work. It's time for battle. It all starts with the battle plan in my new book, The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide. America's survival may be in doubt, but yours doesn't have to be. You have a duty to survive, to protect your assets, and to save your family. You must create your own booming personal economy, no matter what Obama does to the American economy. Your mission is to survive, thrive, and prosper despite Obama, maybe even because of Obama. I've got an 18-point plan called YPODS. It stands for Your Personal Obama Defense Shield. You can find my book, The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide, at Amazon.com. where it's already a bestseller. It hit #1 of all conservative books and #1 of all finance books and number 28 of all 3 million books sold at Amazon before it ever came out. That is how frightened people are right now at what Obama's doing to America and the economy. They're desperate for answers. You can also find it at any major bookseller, such as Barnes & Noble, Costco, or Sam's Club, or you can find more information in the box right under this commentary. Just look for the book cover, The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide, to order your very own copy. I'm Wayne Allen Root for PersonalLiberty.com. See you next week, same time, same place. And yes, God bless America and every one of you.